Welcome to another episode of Deepen with Christina. I'm your host, Christina Weber. We are going to get right into it today. I have a dear friend, Dana Arielle, with me here in the studio, and we are going to talk about love, relationship, of course, my favorite topics all the time, Tantra, although I love how you say Tantra. You say Tantra so much better than I do. Say it.
Tantra.
I'm still learning. Tantra. Doesn't she say it so sexy? Say it again.
Tantra.
We are going to speak about devotional relationships. Her and I have been riffing as we've been waiting for this podcast to start recording. I'm like, stop speaking. There's so much to share here. Go into, actually, before we dive into the idea of transactional relationships versus reciprocal relationships, what I'm always so impressed, every conversation that we have, I learn so much. And you are a scholar of love. This is a 17-year plus exploration that you have been on yourself of studying with masters, venturing off into foreign locations. And why did you make this journey? What actually inspired you to embark on becoming a master of love?
Well, I think I was born as a creative romantic. I think that's just my nature. It's why we vibe. I mean, I just spent a lot of time, this is going to be dating myself, but like listening to my Walkman to a whole album, sitting on a beach, staring at the water, like waiting to meet someone and have a love story. I've always been pretty obsessed with love. And I was like a piner, a yearner. I would have a crush on someone. I had a crush on someone from the age I was, I think, 5 years old till 12 years old, and I never spoke to them. So
Same guy.
the same guy. Yeah. LJ, if you're out there. But I could just stare at someone from a distance and enjoy, maybe not totally enjoy. Sometimes there was a lot of pain in unrequited, but I was always someone who was like, go deeper, go home. I wanted love stories written about me. I wanted songs. I wanted to have this intensity and a connection that would be something that would last through the ages. I don't think I grew up knowing about the concept of reincarnation, but as soon as I heard about it, I was like, oh yeah, I'd come back for love. And actually, when I was 25, almost 26, I had a near-death experience. And I remember when I was really at the edge of life and death, having a conversation with God or source, whatever you want to call it. My mentor always says, it doesn't matter what you call water. It just matters that you get wet. And I was having this conversation on the edge of life and death where I was like, I can't leave this earth yet because I haven't experienced true love. It was like the only motivator actually for me. I love my company that I've built. It's one of the deepest soul expressions of my life. But coming home to someone, resting in the arms of my beloved, deep kisses, like there's just something about the art of love that has just always intrinsically been important to me and valuable to me. And I was always someone with my friends who wanted to analyze like brushing next to someone's elbow for a week and a half. I love love. I'm into it.
So at 26, this near-death experience that happened, at that point in life, going through high school and college and your 20s, you mentioned this term, true love. I wanted to experience true love.
Yeah.
I felt, I had a high school sweetheart and I was so in love with him. We would, write letters to each other, drop them in our lockers, decorate each other's cars, dinner dates. We were that couple in high school. And I was so in love with when he moved across the country. I gave him 2 of my diaries to take with him.
Cute.
Ultimately, we broke up when I had discovered that he was cheating and lying. And at the time, I would say, like looking back, like I loved him and I believe I was in love with him. We deepen. I believe your intimacy journey is your life story.
Yeah.
And that true love is the greatest game we can play this lifetime. And now, I'm I'm in my 40s. I think you're in your maybe
late 30s,
late
36.
30s.
Yeah.
Have you experienced true love?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've had an abundance of true love. And I will say, just in case any of my ex-boyfriends are listening, I did experience some incredible love before I was 25. There is one boyfriend in particular that I dated in college who set the standard. I mean, after we broke up, there was a hurricane that hit my parents' house, and he sent a plant to my parents' house to make sure they were okay after we broke up years later. Like, that's the level of men that I've encountered. I am not somebody who, and I date men. So I have encountered an abundance of quality men in my life. I'm not someone who lives from lack in that area anymore. I have at times, but I have been touched by the love of men. And for me, it brought out something in me, especially if you're into the polarity game. It brought out something in my feminine essence where the person I was loving, how they were treated in love from a very, very, very deep core level of nourishment, like how they liked their back being scratched, how their mom used to tuck them in at night, the way they like their food or their boundaries, their limits, what they do and don't appreciate, what makes them jealous and what doesn't. It was like a little microcosm of all of humanity, and learning how to love someone well and learning how to be loved well. It's this grand experiment, and you get to become someone. For people who love transformational experiences, like I think you and I really love that. Really opening your heart is deeply transformative, and if you do it right, you're leaving each other better. And that doesn't mean that there aren't mistakes on the way. To be human is to make lots and lots and lots of mistakes. And I have definitely left some relationships with some very messy endings. But overall, looking back, the way I experience it now is that, and I get this might be out there, so just try this on. If you don't like it, let it go. Don't get attached to the thing you don't like, because there's something in here that I'm wanting to gift to you. But every partner I had was a different face of God. It was a different expression of the masculine. If you think about Joseph Campbell's book, A Hero with a Thousand Faces, every person I fell in love with gave me an opportunity to understand and appreciate like the core of a masculine heart and soul and body, and what that brings out inside of me. And every person I dated, I was somebody, I don't know about you, but I used to write lists for what I wanted in men. And my lists over time have gotten so much better. Like my first initial, when somebody told me like, oh, you can manifest a partner, which it's always actually worked for me, but I didn't necessarily know the qualities of high value men. So I was asking for more superficial traits that maybe a younger version of me cared about, but that as I grow and mature and develop, those characteristics just don't actually satisfy the core of me anymore. They're not touching my deepest longing. So I have to kind of catch up with myself, even though right now I'm in an extremely beautiful relationship. We're engaged to be married. It's deeply fulfilling. I have to keep staying in touch with rebooting my sense of what is my deepest longing and fulfillment, and connect to that, to keep pulling out of him what I need, because he will rise to the occasion. But if I'm a little bit suppressing or numbing the depths of how big I want to be treasured, adored, cherished, opened, he will also give me a less divine version of relationship.
What is the difference of the love that you experience pre-26 to now the true love experience?
Starting safety.
Safety. Does my soul feel safe with this person?
And
it's actually a Ken Page question. Ken Page, he's the host of Deeper Dating and the author of the Deeper Dating book.
Yeah.
And he always brings that one question forward. Does my soul feel safe with this person?
Like, there is no question with true love when I'm in a room, if it's my person, who their eyes are on. Like, I do not wonder. I'm not I'm not worried about him turning heads. I'm not worried about the loyalty isn't intense. The loyalty is passionate. There's a loyalty that has this pull, loyalty and devotion and intensity. And like, I think I've said intensity a bit. I'm an intense lover, but there's a sense of oneness of we, like I'm operating in the world as a team. Even last week, I had to set a boundary with a client about a touch boundary. And in the room, my partner wasn't there, but I could just feel if he was in the room, would he be cool with this? And I knew immediately, no, he would not be cool with this. So I had to be not cool with this, even though a younger version of me might have liked the attention. So there is a different sense of I'm operating in the world. We're a family now. And we've been from the jump before we were ever engaged. And that's different than even a few years ago, because it's not like the moment I decided I was staying for true love came to me. I actually hired one of the best coaches of the world. I got coached within an inch in my life. I invested in my education because we don't get relationship education. And I started crafting my own unique, highly curated experience of love and being willing to let go of settling. Settling's an interesting conversation, but because there isn't a relationship I've seen that's perfect. So I don't mean someone speaks to you the wrong way once and you delete their number. I feel like giving people a chance over time to build trust. Trust is built over time. I didn't feel safe with people from meeting them once. I might have gotten a glimpse of safety, but safety is something earned over time.
Yes. Bonds build best over time.
Yeah. And then proven through action, not words.
Yes.
You know? But another thing about true love, and if you really want a good reference point for this, there's a couple of these. But there's a book by Anne Brashears. She writes adult novels as well, but she's famous for writing The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and kind of young adult. She wrote a book. I think the book is called My Name is Memory. Or if you just look up the Anne Brashears book about reincarnation, but she describes a love story that goes through lifetimes and bodies, like they reincarnate again and again to be together. And the feeling of how do I put this into words? It's so beautiful in the novel, but the feeling of no matter where you go, I'm there too. That's very tantric. In Tantra, if you see in Hindu, if you look at an image of Hindu iconography and you see a Hindu god and a Hindu goddess who are consorts, they're lovers, you'll never see them in a picture not together. Sometimes they change forms, they shapeshift. Sometimes a goddess's consort will show up as a bird on her shoulder or a staff she's holding. So he's maybe not always there physically, because sometimes with your partner, like my fiance was gone for the past 2 weeks. But some part of them stays with you because it's not like you can actually be separate, even through death, I don't think. So,
Do you believe that everybody has the opportunity to experience true love in this way, this lifetime? Like, are some of us, are
yeah.
all, because I ask this question because as, out in the world, I see how some people are drawn. They're drawn. They are romantics and they desire depth and to feel their emotional body. And some others, I question if, and I also do think that sometimes there's even this longing for the peak experience. And, you mentioned this word intensity as well, like this intense feeling of fire and connection. And then once the effort that's required to sustain a deep relationship over time, like it requires something of you to continue to access deeper versions of yourself, to begin to share that with somebody else, to continue flourishing and growing over time.
Yes.
So you instinctively answered yes when I asked the question.
And that gives me more nuance. So I'll talk about it in a subtle, nuanced way. One, God did not forget you. And if that's a desire of your heart, I believe that the longings of our heart were placed there by the divine. And so if there's something that you've thought about not once, not twice, but 1,000 times, and it doesn't go away, and it irks you at night and it wakes you up, it's yours. It's meant to be yours. That's why you can't forget about it. You can't, you, you will have it. And so just in case anyone's listening who hasn't experienced this yet and is longing, that yearning and longing, lean into that. It actually is a gateway. It's a vulnerable gateway to getting what you desire. And I know desire is fraught with misunderstanding. I'm not talking about attachment, I'm talking about the desire that just cracks you wide open and shows you all your wounds and all your heartaches, and just underneath, you just see it's never going away. I actually am always going to want to be loved for all of me. And for that person, yes, you can have it. You can have everything. Like, this is this earth walk, this experience is a creative endeavor that you are helping narrate, and you came here with a purpose. You volunteered to come here and experience things in this life. And if you're one like me, who part of the deal to be here was I would like to experience what it is to be met and known to my depths as a woman. I'm going to speak about a woman right now. That's there for you. And I actually believe that your pull, it's like a beacon or a bat signal to the universe that's so clear and so true, it cannot be denied, and you can attract very quickly from that. I can tell right away when I meet a woman how close love is around the corner to how quickly they can actually own up to their desire for love. Or, because most women will be like, I love my single life and and it's like, well, then it's not pulling at you where you're like, I can't even breathe. I just have to lay down. For me, it would be like, I have to lay down for a month and just sit with my journal and be with my heart and just long for him. I'm not saying that's a good action step or anyone should take that advice, but for me, it was like, I was overcome with how important it was in my life, in the picture of my life that I was designing. So in that way, if anybody is listening, they're like, I long for this, there's enough for you. There's a lid for every pot. There is an abundance of men, regardless of what people say. There is an abundance of quality men. And there's so many men who long to be incredible husbands and fathers and partners. They long for that. And they actually, the second they get the opportunity to fulfill that purpose, they come out of a certain level of angst and depression and listlessness, and they suddenly find their purpose. They actually use your heart as a beacon, as a light, and then wrap themselves around that light and build a home around that light. And they have a reason for being in a different way. There's a kind of man that's out there in abundance who's like that, or a woman, or whatever you date. A lot of the conversations I'm having is with women looking for men. So that's why it slips off my tongue so well. But I see it in heterosexual relationships, homosexual relationship, every kind of sexual relationship, the longing to be loved and to be partnered and to be held and cherished. There's somebody else feeling that. And the last part, I just want to address the last part about, I do think that there are people out there, my background's in clinical psychology, who are takers, who are narcissists, who are, it's talked about too much. I don't want to harp on it, but I would watch out for I wouldn't trust everybody with your heart and everybody with your body. And I would have standards. And I recommend that you take a defensive dating kind of a tactic sometimes of try different people out at the same time so that you're not in scarcity and that you know that you're wanted. Because I do think that there are people, this is a huge broad spectrum of humans. There are going to be, I've had asexual clients who have no interest in love, or not, no, they're interested in love, but not interested in sex. That happens. That's a real thing. There's no right or wrong way to do life. And I wouldn't have so much hubris to say, I know the one right way. All I know is you can sense and smell someone's genuine truth for themselves, and be aware that some people try to sell you on an idea of love, but their actions don't build to that behavior. And there are a lot of people out there who know exactly what women want to hear to get them into bed or to get them to pursue a relationship without ever actually proving those words to be true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've been blessed inside of We Deepen and Love Club to have you lead groups and teach for us. And I know that you have a private practice and you work with women particularly, and majority of the women that you work with are in a relationship and they are aiming to go deeper in that relationship and create a devotional, committed, long-term connection with their partner. As the society continues to move into, and I think these desires are waking up even more within us. And that level, we spoke a little bit about moving from transactional.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, historically, we're seeking a partner to have a family with. We're seeking a partner to build wealth with. And I'm using the word partner, but sometimes out in the world, sex is exchanged for money.
Yeah.
Femininity is exchanged for money as well. And women are seeking power and access. So I think first off, inside of the relational dynamics that are, already pre-existing, when a woman does come to you, first off, how do you know, through your guidance as you're working with her, that she's in a relationship that has the capacity to serve what she's desiring? And then if she is, what's the secret to maintain that desire and the depth that she's craving?
Mm. Such a good question. I have some pre-approved, pre-stamped characteristics that I think are really great to look for when you're vetting options. But like, say you're in a relationship, I will tell you that I've had some negative experiences in my past, some trauma in my past, that sometimes, no matter how amazing my partner is, I'll still look at him like he's a stranger. And there'll be like a fear of men or a distrust that enters the room that has usually nothing to do with what he's up to. Like, there's a something, but also carries history and baggage in the past. So I wouldn't say that there's this euphoric nirvana of we never ever feel doubt in our relationship. Just to first say that doubt is normal and it comes up. And most of the people who I know who are best at their jobs, they, like the genius creators I know, they experience doubt. And yet, when a woman gets brighter around her partner, when he is in love with her dharma or her work, when he speaks highly about her to his friends and family behind her back, he's like doing PR for you. That's pretty good. When he's hardworking, or I'm going to say he, they, she, when they are able to understand, I think, the value of things that take a long time, like a colony or something that takes time to build, who's a good steward of money, who's a good steward of the land, who wants to give back to community, who has service-oriented qualities. I've often heard the metaphor of like a strong oak tree that has a lot of shade for neighbors, friends, community, or someone who other young men maybe come to advice for. You're looking for someone who's got husbandly traits, someone who's got, if you're wanting that in a forever person. For me, someone who is protective, who guards and shields my heart, who stands up for me when I'm feeling weak, but also who challenges me intellectually. I think in terms of spark and desire, one thing that, like, there may be a time where we're sitting on a rocking chair with bodies that can't move that much. And all we have with our partner is discourse and is conversation. Like, make sure you and your partner can talk into the middle of the night and that you have a lot to talk about. And there are different types of intelligence. You might really value someone who's intelligent in a very practical, street smart way. Like, I've got a little gangster edge in me. Like, I like someone who knows how to walk through a city at night and I feel safe with them. Like, I got that little side where I'm like, I want him to know and things to be cool and me not have to worry in a certain way. I'm a full-time passenger princess. I don't love to drive. So I'm like, you lead, you drive.
I love that, a full-time passenger
Yeah.
princess.
I'm not about it, but probably also from spending a lot of time in a city, I'm like, I just don't want to drive. But I love to be driven. I love to be led. Men who, or I'm still talking about men, sorry guys, but who plan, who lead, who can picture a vision of the future that they can update. I think you've got to update your future vision often. I'm not like you have to do it quarterly or yearly, but pretty often having a moment like a special date or a special trip, maybe somewhere outside of your home, outside of your usual routine, to dream bigger regularly. We have a couple amazing friends of ours who do this thing called life dinner once a month, where someone brings flowers and cooks dinner. I think they rotate who does it. And they sit around the dinner table and they go through a series of questions to check in with each other about their future and where they're headed and what they just went through the past month. And they keep revising what success looks like in their relationship as a regular devotional practice. We don't do that at my house yet. I mean, that would be cool. We have a lot of dreams of what we'll do regularly, but I'm a pretty spontaneous. I like happiness to me is an empty calendar. So I'm like, let's not schedule it. But I feel like I'm going on a tangent now. Yeah.
You mentioned shifting from peak experiences, and that leads me to intensity and chemistry. There's a lot of, we're here in Austin, Texas, and it's funny. I actually love it. And happiness is an empty calendar. I can resonate with that because there's always something going on.
Yes.
And, I'm a pretty ambitious person when it comes to the work that I'm doing in the world. And that there is sometimes like a lot of intensity when I get into a relationship with somebody and the seeking of these novel peak experiences. And, there's always a party, there's always a play party, there's always something to do. And I'm reading the book Anastasia right now. Do you know the old school book Anastasia?
The one in the like Russian forest.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes.
Magical, I've heard.
It's such a sweet book, but they talk about how a lot of the great sages spend time in solitude.
Yeah.
And that a lot of us are actually addicted to our partners or addicted to connection or addicted to seeking a validation. And that speaks to a lot of the intensity out in the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious if you could go into when you say that you're working with a lot of people around, and I believe yourself around shifting from those peak experiences into what?
Okay. Yes. So true transformation for me is permanent identity level change, not a Band-Aid, not a once-off experience, not an aberration from the norm. So when people leave working with me, I feel like results, like a success is when their life has become, well, first of all, they feel more like themselves. A lot of people in transformation, they get a new name or something. And that's cool if that's what, but I'd rather you like own your birth name and own what you came here for.
When you taught for Love Club, you said something that resonated with me and something that I shared and pondered since. You made a statement that money is for the body. And it shifted my thought patterns around the way I view money as a tool and why I need money. And see how, speaking of intensity, we Deepen is growing. We're fundraising. I prepared our tech stack.
Yes.
We're looking at real estate. So there's a lot of big pieces of team expanding. There's, faculty and memberships and having tons of fun with it. And the other morning, I, after getting up, doing a workout, I took my car to get gas. And then I went and got the car and I ran packages to Amazon. Partly I'm thinking, I should have assisted doing this. And at the same time, I was so grateful for doing it myself because it was giving me time to decompress in going with emotions. And friend had shared that I believe Michael Dell Computers. He has 2 houses in the Austin area, and the helicopter that will take us between both houses, because it would be an hour drive, and rather the helicopter is only 10 minutes. And because time is so valuable that it made more sense for me to take a helicopter. And as I was running these errands, I was thinking, I am so grateful to not be in that intensity.
Yeah.
That time is my own. And that when I am provided for, financially through the work that I do, and my body is cared for, and everything that I envision of why I would go out and generate more income. It is not only for my body to feel greater grounding and nourishment and comforts this lifetime, but as a team expands and as the love industry itself, that the founders, teachers are more comfortable in their bodies, as well as experiencing life. So I'm curious around that statement, how that, because I've been holding on to this idea for 2 months, but you have had this in your system for quite some time, and how it has shifted your relationship with it.
Yeah. I am very much an embodiment-based teacher. I am not looking to transcend my body. I am looking to inhabit and go down and in my body and find soul in my body. I get that I'm also spirit, but in this life, this is the body that I have to do it. And I really like Jenna LaFlamme's about our body is like an animal. She calls it like your horse. It's your vehicle. And my body has more ancient wisdom in every single cell of my body that has over billions of years been evolving to be this level of intelligence, way more than my mind. I have a beautiful mind, but my mind, it's like Mama Gina will say, the difference between the pleasure in the body and the difference between the pleasure in the mind is like a mind will love a good crossword puzzle. Oh, good. But like the body could use like a full body multi-orgasmic experience, right? Like they're just different ones. Nothing wrong with pleasure for the mind. I will do things that are for my mind. But when I'm actually involving my body in the conversation, and there are some really great teachers I've had, like Heather Nichols is one of them, that really helped me understand asking my body what my body wants in the areas that my body has domain over, like my home or food or who I have sex or when I have sex or bathing, or how I adorn myself, then my body is going to have a different experience in the yellow dress than the red dress. And if I care about my body, I might ask her opinion on that. Like, body, what do you want to wear? Or I'll sometimes do little tests when I'm in the grocery store of like, what gives me a little bit like, in my body? Like, yeah, I'm looking for more of a gut response, like a, or like, or sometimes just kind of like a meh. But I am asking my body to weigh things many, many times, almost like my body is a pendulum or some kind of divination tool, because I have learned over time that I can trust that deep, quiet body. Because I think we've talked about together, I talked on stage about the body is mute. So I have to give my body a voice. My body's not going to shout in the same way that I will. But involving your body in the conversation makes it so that you're a team in life. Your body, part animal, part angel. And my body is picking up on things, antenna in the world, quicker than my mind can even really comprehend my mind. There's so much more going on below the throat. And for me, I don't know about you, there's this intimacy, like a coziness with self, moving from body first. When I'm taking care of her, it's like taking care of my little girl. It's different than the parts work version of this, but there is a something about giving myself exactly what I want to eat in the exact amount I want to eat it. And no compromise on that. That is a pure body pleasure that feels like a win almost like I get like a gold star for my soul. That's like, you went for it. You went to the exact thing. You went and got yourself that beautiful soup in the exact way with the extra this and the extra that. Like, good job, you. You took care of the most important thing, which is your body.
Mm.
And that's mine to take care of. As for money, my family knows that I have not necessarily been someone who's been motivated by money. It's not something that drives me, and sometimes to my detriment. My mom ran a nonprofit, people with developmental disabilities. My dad ran a company that he had a hard time charging money. So I'm not somebody who has money on its own really motivates me. But if money's for my body, if money helps me take care of this vessel or give me like the coziest towels or a satin pillowcase or something that on a body level gives me a sense of safety, a felt sense of safety, regulates my nervous system, calms me down. I'm motivated by feeling better. I'm motivated by happiness.
I read years ago, I believe her name is Lisa Chase Patterson. And there's an image, a graphic of two humans, a male and a woman, in an energetic sexual exchange. And she shares how sexual energy is circulating between us and makes it a point. She says, never sleep with somebody that you wouldn't want.
Wow.
And with somebody who teaches love and relationship and is transcending, like seeks to, have devotional experiences that are inclusive of sharing of sexual energy.
Hell yeah.
How does one navigate or choose who to partner with sexually, especially if you're in a moment of singledom?
Yeah.
And then how do you disengage?
Yeah.
When you feel that dynamic is no longer a fit for you?
That question, let's talk about it, Christina. You are so good at this. Okay, first of all, I think everyone's attracted to health. So if I was to say, hey, your date is going to come later, and they're kind of sick right now, like already in your body, you'd start a protective mechanism. We are not attracted necessarily towards people who don't take care of themselves. And it's something that I hear often from men that I coach when I'm coaching couples in particular, that, oh, my wife let herself go or something. That it's an awful way to say it. But the idea is we weren't maintaining or taking care of ourselves. This is not about body size or shape, but it's about all of us are attracted to health. So I really like how Kim Anami talks about being a sexual athlete, being someone who's ready to feel good and comfortable naked, and that can be in any form, but is prepared to bring their best game forward, best endurance, best stamina. So first of all, I'm scanning in any relationship that's going to be sexual to notice, is there an air of health, meaning self-respect? And then there are these 5 questions that I was taught to ask myself before discovering if I was going to have sex with someone, that I've taught a lot of my clients that they use to great success. And I learned that from daycare. And Gary does this, but it's, if you're about to have sex with someone and you're not sure, 1, will this be fun? Will this be fun for me? You can tell. You have the strong intuition that you can already tell if it's going to be work or not. If it's going to work, what's the point? It's going to be fun. Will they be grateful? That's my go-to. If someone's not grateful for my precious body and the opportunity to touch me or smell me or lick me or something, if I sniff that I am disposable in any way to them, that is a huge turnoff and a no-no for me. It's not with hubris, but the exchange of sex is too important to me for someone to leave an experience not knowing me better and feeling grateful that I shared what I shared. Will this be fun? Will they be grateful? Will I learn something? Am I actually in this experience going to grow in who I know myself to be? Am I going to discover something about my body or my soul or my heart in this experience? For me, I want every person I encounter to make me grow and learn and expand. If they're not making my life exponentially greater, like, please don't come in my life. Like, I'd rather have less friends. Just only 10x my life. Relationships are too much work to invest in if my life isn't getting magnitudes greater by coming into my life, because I'll give people my everything. So will this be fun? Will they be grateful? Will I learn something? You could even ask this a sneaky one. Will this make me money? To just know, is my value going to increase from this or diminish? Not meaning they're going to pay you, but literally, will they give me a brand new idea? Will they give me a sense of myself that makes me hold my body in the world with more grace and dignity? Will they expand my sense of value is really what that question is asking. So you could just be asking yourself questions. I could probably come up with more, but having a little conversation with yourself of like, yeah, this opportunity is here. But if you were going to invest in a business, you wouldn't like jump into a business investment without really vetting properly if this person in this partnership is going to enhance or expand your life in a very powerful way. So I think some people are gambling with their body a little bit. It's like, take a pause, take a breather. Nothing is going to happen to you if you also wait a day or a week or, God forbid, a month or 2 months getting to know one before they enter you or you enter them. And you also mentioned, how do we disconnect?
Yeah. How does one know when the has come to end that sexual? I don't know if I want to entanglement, because it's not always entanglement, but sometimes there can be an entanglement, especially if it's a practice of, non-exclusivity
Yes.
in those dynamics.
Yes.
So when those relationships end, how do we cleanse them? How do we know when to end them, and how do we know how to cleanse them?
First of all, if you're ever walking away from an interaction confused or diminished, your self-esteem lowered, I think it's really important to pay attention to that, to not allow yourself to be made dimmer or smaller by the person you're having sex with. I've literally had people, when I've been in tough parts of my life, being like, who are you having sex with right now? Because there is a way that we can get drained. If you leave a sexual situation tired or listless with less energy, I want you bouncing there, like walking through the world, feeling way better about yourself. So if in any way your self-esteem is diminished, but the way they think about you feels like it devalues your preciousness, be quick with letting go of that. Don't worry about letting go of that. Dispose that. And I was going to say, there is a tantric ritual that I teach women that I'll try to give you a very short version of it so that anyone who hears this, men, it's a little bit slightly different, but I'm going to speak to female identified people for a moment. If you have had a sexual relationship with someone who did not honor you, or even if you just are with an amazing partner, but you feel muddy in your own energetic sphere because their energy is so big in your life, you're starting to lose your own sense of self. This is a really good ritual. And here's how you do it. You take a small black stone. I prefer onyx. You could use in a pinch of obsidian. Smaller is better. You take that black stone, you put it in a little black drawstring bag, or in a pinch, you put it in the toe end of a black sock and you tie it and cut off the end of the sock. So it's like a little bag with a stone, because stones are slippery, so they're easy to lose. So the bag makes it so that you don't lose. When you're on your period, you slip that little bag with the little stone inside of your panties. Sometimes underwear will have like a little flap. You can stick it in that little pocket. That's really helpful so you don't lose it. And you wear it for the length of your period. And I like to talk to the stone. I say, hey, little stone, Your job is vacuum suck everyone's energy in my body that's not mine. And because you're putting so close to your root, and if you're not menstruating, just during the dark cycle of the moon, if you're in menopause, but during a period of time, I'm not talking about a day or two, like at least 3, 4 days, 5 days. If your cycle is 7 days, do the whole thing. And you're asking that stone to suck and draw out all other energies that are not yours. People tend to find if they're in heart, their nightmares stop, their intensity stops, or they feel like they're going through an inventory of everyone they've ever slept with in the first decade of their life. And they're going through and they're cleaning out the sexual closet. It's a very powerful rituals organize the psyche. So it organizes your psyche to be like, right now we are on deep clean mode and we are vacuuming out our past sexual history. I really recommend journaling, paying attention to your dreams, doing cleansing practices. And if you don't like having the stone in your underwear all the time, or you don't like wearing underwear all the time, slip it under at night. It is helpful to have it near your root most of the time during the day, and it will give you a sense of protection. It will feel like a friend who's with you all the time, who's doing magic for you all the time on autopilot. You don't have to do a thing. And at the end of your cycle, or whenever you're at the end of the dark of the moon, or you're done with your bleed and you feel complete, you will feel it. You will know when it's too soon and you're not quite done with the ritual and you have more to process. And you will feel when you're complete. You go bury that stone somewhere. In the past, I've been so attached to my exes that I have wanted to dig up the stone and take it back. So just so you know, it will really draw an attachment. You will form a bond with the stone. And for me, the stone, putting it back to earth, it's like a funeral for the past. Even if it's with my current partnership, I'm letting this old experience of relationship, especially sexual relationship, die and be resurrected, be reborn through me as the new person I am, without all these cords and attachments. I'm clean, I'm fresh, I'm coming into a relationship whole, natural, complete. Nobody else's energy. And that for me has been a powerful ritual, a powerful first step. Remember that anytime you do cleansing, fill yourself up with good energy after. Give yourself extra treats, give yourself extra attention, give yourself extra care. Love after the ritual is complete. Books. Yeah.
I love how you said rituals organize the psyche. And these modalities have been passed down from generations to generations. And take them and you can play in this way. And you can also create your own.
Yeah.
These are part of the process of thinking of like, wow, how do I desire to live my, or to jump to a new timeline, or to transform who I am today to become this next new version of myself, and creating rituals in your life, borrowing them from other people, trying them out for yourself, or even going through that process of it. What speaks to you and what reorganizes your psyche.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Don't be afraid to destroy as well as create.
Create, destroy, that's all part of the cycle.
Yeah.
That's what.
Let things go. You will not be alone if you let go of a sexual partner isn't honoring you. You will find more. There's no shortage, this is vulgar, but there's no shortage of men with cocks in the world.
There's no shortage of it. Yeah,
they're everywhere.
The world is your oyster.
There's a lot that you may have to taste a lot of pickles before you get the right pickle solution for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dana Arielle. What are you up to these days? I know we're going to continue to have you teach inside the Love Club, but you're also you're taking women through a multi-month coaching program.
Yes. Yes, it's called Aphrodite's Angels. And it's underneath the umbrella school that I've started, the School of the Divine Feminine, which we're just starting to bring this from an in-person organic offering to the online sphere as well. But it's also still run in person, very boutique, highly curated experience. Aphrodite's Angels is about being an ambassador of the goddess of love and doing that with class, elegance, and grace, and bringing your best forward so that we can really set a new standard. I think Aphrodite Venus is a rebrand, and it's not about seeing anything. It's actually about really drawing our attention from the outside world, sucking it back into our core, moving from our golden center and being the harmonic wave that shifts the space around us, being the thing you're seeking, and letting harmony and magnetism and radiance be a product of how healed and deeply true you're being to yourself, being so compassionate to yourself. It's like all of these offerings, if you're feeling the call, you can find me at danaarielle.com. But these offerings, I think, speak to the heroes of the world. You're like, I have this huge destiny. I'm a legend. How do I honor the preciousness of my tiny little, like my heart that wants to be so big? I love to create a cocoon for women to unfold in. And at a certain point, you're going to want to bust through that cocoon and fly. And I celebrate so much. Your wins are my wins. It's time for you to become a force of nature in the world unleashed. So that's the aim, is let women become unleashed. Them know their true value and honor and never compromise or settle for less than they are deeply, deeply worthy. And there is enough for them to have.
Thank you so much for being on Team. I honor the work that you're doing and the effort that you put forth. Thank you. And if you're listening to this right now, thank you for being on Team Love as well. While Dana and I love connecting with you in this online virtual space, what we'd love even more is being with you in person, whether that's virtually in a Zoom call or at a love immersion, an event here in Austin, Texas or beyond. So definitely check out the calendar of wedeepen.com and come and play with us, be with us. Thank you for listening to another episode of Deepen with Christina. And until next time.